Welcome to the Prop Market. I'm your host, the Prop King, and today I have my 2024 College Football Championship Week prop picks and best bets. So I'm super excited to bring you 9 great prop picks for you this week. Spent a lot of time in the lab, um, researching and getting the data together for these picks. I'm more confident with my prop picks this week than I've been all year long, just because one, there's a smaller slate, so it's easier to kind of do my research, not a lot of distractions. And I have so much data, and I've seen these guys play all year. We know the guys that are supposed to play are going to play because it's championship week. So they're going to make sure that those guys that need that usage rate is going to get it. So super, super great week for us this week. I'm looking to go 9-0. Speaking of doing great, last week we hit on our pick versus the spread. We picked South Carolina to upset Clemson. Hopefully you made that pick because you definitely cashed out if you did. So we're going to continue to make great picks here in the prop market. With that being said, I love our two picks versus the spread this week. I believe it's going to be absolute cash fest, money tree we're building this week. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our stats. How we've been doing this season and last week, 4 and 5 on prop plays, so 44%, 69 to 76. I'm at 48%. This week, hopefully it's a 9-0 week. We go over our picks right here and cash out, really make some money, get to about 54%, which was my goal for the season. We're not there, but we still have the bowl season, and hopefully this is a 9-0 week. I'm going to keep saying that the whole show until it happens. Here we go. We got Kevin Jennings as my first pick. Kevin Jennings is a guy that's cashed multiple times here in the prop market for us. Implied total set at 29 points. Clemson defense that allows 217 yards passing per game. So not so great versus the pass. Um, I think that Jennings will have a good opportunity to get a lot of passing yards because I believe they're not going to want him to run. If you watched last week, South Carolina sellers kind of took advantage of the Clemson run defense. Quarterback just took off. I think they want to keep Jennings in the pocket, which helps us. He also has really good wide receivers on his team. And so after last week, I think he's in a lot of opportunities to throw the ball. They're going to not want him to run. I'm sure that's a point of emphasis for Clemson defense to keep the quarterback in the pocket, which is going to mean he's going to have a lot of time to find those open receivers down the field. I think this is going to be a high scoring game as well. So I love this over 247.5 passing yards for Kevin Jennings. Look at Cape Klubnik, average passing yards 253, projected is 252. Cape Klubnik is a guy that's been playing a lot better as the season went on. SMU is giving up 241 passing yards per game, which is 92nd in the country. So they're towards the bottom of that stat. Team total set at 27. I really like the wide receiver matchups for Clemson versus SMU. I've watched SMU struggle this year multiple times in the secondary when they're challenged by really talented and bigger wide receivers, and Clemson has both. I believe this is going to be a back and forth game. I like the over 249 passing yards. He cashed for us last week. Yes, his numbers got a little bit higher, but I still think it's another win for us for Cade Klubnik. Next guy is Quinn Ewers. A lot of people are going to look at this pick and say, "What do you mean? Why are you doing this?" I've watched him struggle, but he went under last week due to them running the ball 30 plus times. Georgia defense will not allow Texas to run the football. That is going to charge Quinn Ewers to make some plays. They're going to force him to make some plays with his arm. So I see him throwing the ball anywhere from 28 to 32 times in this game. Really good wide receivers. I like his tight end, Gunnar Helm. Um, he'll be looking to get these guys the football. Uh, Georgia will make sure that he's the one that beats them. They're not going to let the running backs beat them. So I really like his over 236.5 passing yards for Quinn Ewers in this very, very important game for Texas. And now I'm picking his opponent, Carson Beck. Average passing yards is 286. Projected passing yards is 254. So if you look at his average and projected, you're going to really understand why I like this over number for him. Not to mention, he has no running game at all. He's coming in with a freshman quarterback, running back that's going against this defense that just totally shut down any opportunity for their possession for their opponent to run this year. Texas defense has been very, very strong. You saw it versus A&M, basically shutting them down in the trenches. So Carson Beck's going to have to throw the football. I think his wide receivers finally step up for him. But even if they don't, this number is super low. He's going to probably throw the ball 30 times plus this game with no running game. I kind of like him the same way I like Shador earlier in the season. They're turning one dimensional, which is good for us in his passing yards. Next guy is a freshman, Darian Mensah. Uh, Real good wide receiving core for Tulane. I like this matchup versus Army. Army has struggled to stop the pass. They're 98 versus the pass in the country, so they give up a lot of passing yards. But the thing that Army does do is they will control the clock. They will slow the game down. They will try to limit possessions for Tulane, and that's the only thing that kind of brings me fear. But I believe Mensah hits his receivers on a couple deep passes. He easily cashes this small number of 103.5 passing yards for Darian Mensah. Next guy is Jaylin Noel. The guy's been pretty consistent throughout his career for Iowa State. When Iowa State needs a big play, they usually look for him. He's averaging almost 9 targets a game, uh, 84 receiving yards average as well for a game. I got him projected at 73. I wish they can take advantage of this Arizona State defense. I've seen them bust coverages. I watched them versus Texas State just give up all type of yards, and it's happened multiple times this season. So it will not be surprised to me if you see a lot of passing yards coming this coming up week for for Iowa State versus Arizona team. Don't see Arizona State stopping this explosive wide receiver. So I like his over 68.5 receiving yards, quite a bit under his average and under his projection. Next guy is Malik Williams. Can't say his first name, although I'm pretty sure it is fun to say. This guy's a guy I got in early on. Not going to give out that number, but I got him at 249. His number has continued to rise. He's a true dual threat quarterback. I expect a lot of points in this game versus Boise, back and forth game. I see him doing it with his feet and his legs. He's got a huge chip on his shoulder due to the fact that he's coming from Campbell. And he did not, and he wasn't picked as a starter at the beginning of the season. So I just see a chip on his shoulder because of that. He really knows how to play the game of football. He has a lot of experience, and I think UNLV is going to rely heavy on him this week. So with that being said, I like him over 260.5 pass plus rushing yards. Now back to his opponent, Ashton Jeanty, a Heisman Trophy candidate. Uh, Super high usage rate for this game. I believe Boise State's going to try to show the country not only what they can do, but what Ashton Jeanty can do. But I've always know what he can do. If you go back and look at my preseason predictions, I have picked Boise State to win over their win total, which cashed. I also told you guys that Ashton Jeanty was the best running back in college football. And it looks like I'm standing corrected. So I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told you so. With that being said, um, I see him getting 25 plus touches. I also see them trying to find different ways to get him the football. Teams are starting to stack the line. I see a lot of screens, possible getting him out in space so he can kind of go out there. The first time I ever saw him actually play, he was catching a screen pass. So keep that in mind as we go through. I like his over 193.5 rush plus receiving yards. Next guy is Drew Allar, 222 passing yards, average projected at 205. Here's a guy that's cashed me out already for his season total. Go back and look at my season totals. We cashed out really well. But he's going against the Oregon team. I think he'll be playing from behind. I also believe that they will try to shut down his two great running backs, Singleton and Allen, and force Drew Allar to beat them. With that being said, he's also an NFL projected draft pick. So he's got to have some talent there. Getting him at 200 yards has got to be a steal. I'm buying low, hopefully winning high. Now to my best bets. I got two best bets versus the spread, as you can see. I like SMU versus Clemson for the same reasons I liked South Carolina versus Clemson. I just don't think they're as good as they should be. I see SMU being able to score on Clemson, and I see Clemson to find having a struggle to find a way to score versus SMU, a defense that is underrated, especially versus the run. So I feel like the run defense versus SMU will help. And I think I see Klubnik turning the ball over a couple times. I like this 2.5 SMU. Tulane versus Army. I like Tulane here. A lot of it is due to the fact I feel they have a really explosive offense. I think they have a whole week getting ready for this Army triple option offense. So I love this pick for Tulane. -6. Anything under 7, I would go ahead and take that as a easy win. Now to my recap. Jennings over 247.5 passing yards. Klubnik over 249.5 passing yards. Ewers over 236.5 passing yards. Beck over 245.5 passing yards. Mensah over 183.5 passing yards. Noel over 68.5 receiving yards. Williams over 260 pass plus rush yards. Jeanty over 193 rush plus receiving yards. And last but not least, Allar over 200.5 passing yards. If you enjoyed this video, if you found any of this information useful, please like and subscribe to the channel. I've been your tour guide throughout this college football season, just the way I promised. And I will do the exact same thing in the NBA and college basketball as we kind of go to that after college football kind of dies down. With all that being said, keep what you like, leave what you don't, and let's cash.